Hello, job seekers. Melanie here with CGL Recruiting. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that actually was raised at one of our weekly job seeker Q&A meetings. Now, the question was raised of, should I interview with a company when I know the position is paying less than what I'm going to do? So let me explain a little bit more, but I think you're going to find this one interesting because I gave my opinion and I talked with some other people about it too. And I think that there's multiple ways to look at this issue, but let's kind of get right to it. So one of our job seekers that we were working with said that he was interviewing for a position. And during the initial interview, the person he was talking with said that the position is going to pay up to this amount. And at that point in time, he knew that that salary was less than he was going to accept. But he completed through the interview and he didn't say anything about it. Well, they liked him and they decided to schedule a second interview, this time with a larger team. And so his question that he raised on our Q&A was, should I consider still doing the interview and not saying anything about my salary? Or should I, before the interview, say something about my salary? Or should I bring it up during the interview? And so his question was, what's the right path? And so I know that salaries have taken a pretty big hit with COVID. I am seeing them come down about 20%, but I have heard some job seekers saying the positions that are the same that they were in before are coming down as much as 50% on salary. That's crazy. It should be not that big of an impact, but it looks like some people are experiencing that. Okay, so there's three options here. What's the best path forward? Well, if you truly know that this position is less and is nowhere close to what you're going to be looking for, and let me give you an example. Let's say that you are looking for $100,000 and this position has a cap of $50,000. Then I think you should let them know even before you go in for the second interview. What we want to try and do here is not burn a bridge. We don't want to have them get upset that they've spent more time and energy on you, because there is a cost for the companies of this recruiting process. And we don't want them to feel like, oh, they just strung us along. And if it's that much of a gap, then I think you should tell them before the second interview and say, look, and if it's something you are interested in, say, I am interested in this role. I am interested in being considered for it, but I need to let you know that I really am not willing to go below this number, and this is my floor on the salary range. Or if you don't feel comfortable giving them a floor because you don't want to show that card, then you could say, I really would be looking for something higher than that. Is there room in the salary range? Because if you don't, then what might happen is a month down the road, they may have said, okay, well, he was not the right person for this role, but gosh, we have this higher level one. We really, really think he could be a great match for that. You don't want to have burnt the bridge so that they're not willing to give you a call for that second role. So that's option one. Option two is, do you go through the interview and don't even say anything about the salary again unless they get to offer and then you bring it up? That's dangerous, because I think if you do that, and again, you're that far below, you're going to burn that bridge pretty darn hard, because they will have spent a lot of time and energy at this point in time. You can bet that recruiter's going to say, well, I told them right from the beginning this was the top of our salary. So I really don't recommend you go that path unless it is very, very close. Let's say you're wanting 100,000 and they told you the top is 90,000 or 95,000. That's something that's close enough that you may be able to negotiate. Even if you couldn't negotiate the base salary up, maybe you could negotiate bonus or extra things like extra vacation time. Okay, so option number three is, do you wait and go ahead and schedule the second interview and then tell them during that interview that you were really looking for a higher salary? Now, that one depends again how big that gap is. And we're using the 100 and the 50,000. If you're like 100,000 and 75,000, and you feel like you're getting closer to it, then you could choose to use this method. Do you risk burning a bridge? You do. But I think you can help to mitigate that a little bit by bringing the salary issue up really early on. And I think in that case, what I would recommend you do is say, look, I'm, really excited that I'm called for a second interview because I do think I could be impactful in this company and I think it's a great role for me. But I do want to talk with you all a little bit about the compensation level. This is, where I'm used to being. And, while I'm willing to negotiate and come down some, this seems a little low for what now I understand the position is you're going to want me to do. And I want to talk with you to see about if there's room in that before we go too much further. And that way, hopefully, you even have somebody on the interview with you or on the call, or if you do it in person, who's a little higher level than the initial person you spoke with. They're either going to be higher in the HR team, or potentially they could be before you were dealing with a recruiter or a sourcer, and now you could be hopefully dealing with a hiring manager. So you might get a little bit more of maybe there is a possibility, as opposed to with those recruiters and stuff. A lot of times they're given a range and said, don't go beyond this range. So I hope this helps. And I think that you do need to really consider through these three options when you are looking at doing this. My biggest thing to you is don't burn that bridge. Don't burn that bridge if there's any way possible for you to avoid it, because you never know what position is going to come up tomorrow that you might be interested in that company. All right, job seekers, as always, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that. If you feel like this data is helpful, give us that thumbs up. And we're doing this to help all the job seekers, so please consider sharing it with somebody else who you think might be needing a little bit of help. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.